In 1999, a team of Siberian mountaineers did something that should have been routine. They started climbing a mountain in Tibet. Nothing particularly dangerous. This wasn't Everest. This peak isn't even in the top 100 highest mountains in the world. But a few hours into the climb, they noticed something profoundly wrong. Their fingernails had grown, not a little, substantially. As though they'd been growing for weeks, their hair was longer, considerably longer. They looked in the mirror at base camp and saw themselves older. They abandoned the expedition immediately. Smart decision, surely. Get off the mountain, return home. Forget this ever happened. Here's the thing. Exactly 1 year later, every single climber from that expedition was dead. Not from falls, not from altitude sickness. They died of old age. Young men in their 20s and 30s, dead from conditions that typically kill people in their 80s. The mountain had aged them decades in 12 months. And here's what's rather unsettling. That mountain is still there, waiting. Let's discuss Mount Kailash. 4 major religions consider it sacred. Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and Bon. 4 completely different belief systems, all agreeing that this one specific mountain is holy. But it gets rather peculiar. Mount Kailash has this obsession with the number 4. 4 rivers flow from Kailash, each heading in a different cardinal direction, perfect symmetry. The Indus flows north, the Sutlej goes west, the Brahmaputra heads east, the Karnali runs south. It's as though someone designed a water distribution system. And speaking of design, observe this mountain. Most pyramidal peaks have imperfections. You can see where erosion occurred, where rock slides happened, where nature did its chaotic thing. Mount Kailash, nearly perfect perpendicular sides, 4 faces, each aligned to a cardinal direction, each face reportedly a different color, gold in the north, lapis lazuli in the south, crystal in the east, ruby in the west. Now, nature usually follows certain rules. In the northern hemisphere, south-facing slopes receive more sunlight, so they have less snow. North-facing slopes stay colder, accumulate more snow. Basic science. Kailash does the opposite. Its north face has barely any snow. The south face, which gets blasted by sunlight, is covered in glaciers year-round. Compasses don't work there. The needle just spins endlessly. And there's 0 plant life on the entire mountain. Not a single tree, not one shrub. Completely barren. But here's where things become genuinely extraordinary. When the sun sets on the south face of Mount Kailash, the shadows from the ice cracks and rock formations create a massive swastika, not vaguely, not if you squint. A perfect left-facing swastika, which, incidentally, is considered auspicious in all 4 religions that worship this mountain. Satellite imagery shows what appears to be the face of Lord Shiva on the mountain. The snow at the peak forms the Om symbol, the most sacred sound in Hinduism. According to geologists, Mount Kailash sits at what they term the navel of the Earth, the exact center of the planet's landmass. At the base of Kailash sit 2 lakes, Manasarovar and Rakshastal. They used to be one body of water before tectonic activity split them apart. Manasarovar is round like the sun, freshwater, full of life. It's the highest freshwater lake in the world, but despite its altitude, it never freezes. Never. Rakshastal, the demon lake, is crescent-shaped like the moon, extremely salty, supports no life, and is constantly turbulent. Locals say it periodically vanishes completely, leaving dry ground, then reappears at full volume. They call it the Ghost Lake. 2 lakes, same location, opposite in every conceivable way. Yin and yang, by design. Now, I need to tell you something rather extraordinary. No one has ever successfully climbed Mount Kailash, ever, not once in recorded history, and it's not because people haven't tried. Experienced mountaineers, people who've summited genuinely dangerous peaks, have attempted Kailash. Colonel Wilson, a seasoned climber, reported finding an easy route to the summit. Then, out of nowhere, heavy snow made it impossible to continue. Just sudden snow from a clear sky. A Russian climber named Sergei Chistakov described standing at the base, heart pounding, feeling extremely emaciated, his word, and being overwhelmed by the certainty that he didn't belong there. The moment his team started descending, he felt liberated. Other climbers report suddenly finding themselves walking backward down the mountain without realizing it, as though the mountain changed position whilst they were climbing. Even technology fails at Kailash. Our most sophisticated aircraft can't fly over it. There's some kind of invisible ceiling that planes physically cannot pass. People regularly report strange lights dancing above Lake Manasaravar. No explanation, just lights. In 1999, Dr. Ernst Muldashev, an award-winning scientist, led a research expedition to Kailash. His team heard sounds coming from inside the mountain, specifically the sound of falling stones, but from the interior, as though something was moving about inside. Muldashev became convinced that Kailash wasn't a natural mountain. When his team mapped the complex of pyramids and structures around Kailash, the pattern matched the spatial structure of DNA molecules. The layout of structures around Mount Kailash mirrors DNA. According to Tibetan legend, there's a city underneath Kailash called Shambhala, the city of gods. This city supposedly contains a reservoir of the human gene pool. One person took this legend rather seriously: Adolf Hitler. In 1938, Hitler sent a team of 5 Germans to Tibet. The official mission was to trace the origins of the Aryan race. Before we venture too far into speculation, let's examine what science can actually explain. The pyramid shape? Probably formed during ice ages 2.6 million years ago. The snow pattern? The south face receives more precipitation from the Indian Ocean monsoon. That's verifiable. Planes not flying over? Tibet is over 4,000 meters above sea level. If a plane has a pressure emergency, there's nowhere to descend safely. That's practical aviation. The Ghost Lake? Rakshas Tal is endorheic. It has no outlet. Water only leaves through evaporation or seepage. But science cannot explain why 2 adjacent lakes are complete opposites in every measurable way. It cannot explain the perfect geometry, the compass failure, the DNA pattern, the sounds from inside the mountain. Scientists attempted to use Einstein's theory of relativity. Time moves slightly faster at higher altitudes. True, but the difference is so microscopic you need atomic clocks to measure it, not grow weeks of hair in hours noticeable, not die of old age in 1 year noticeable. So what's really happening at Mount Kailash? We'll never know. China banned climbing the mountain in 1980. Whatever is up there, whether it's alien technology, a supernatural presence, or something we don't have the framework to understand yet, it's staying a mystery. The mountain that kills you with time is keeping its secrets, and perhaps that's exactly how it wants it.